Phantom Sitter, or is it Phantom Seater? I'm trying to... Phantom Theater. I'm going to go, maybe it's Phantom Theater? I'm not 100% sure how we're supposed to pronounce that, but from what I've seen it spelled in English, it's Phantom Sitter. I am really intrigued to follow up on this group. It's been a while since I've really given them the attention they deserve, but this is a group, obviously, who came to a lot of attention when they first were announced because they seem to have, so Ado was basically the executive producer, and you could hear some of her sound and some of her style was definitely present in what we were getting from Phantom Sitter. As I'm going to pronounce it that way. Tell me if I'm wrong. A lot of their sound kind of lent into that, but obviously in the idol group format, in the pop group format, you can be a little bit more experimental. You can do a bit more crazy things. You can go in a few more directions. When you've got more members, you can sort of pass around a few more styles. So this has been an interesting project, side project, I would say, or pet project from one of the biggest names in Japanese music in recent years. So I'm very much excited to see what they come up with this new one. It's just come out today, 7 hours ago. Why am I not subscribed? I'm subscribed on the other account, by the way. I've got too many YouTube accounts. 7 hours ago. And yeah, it's called Noah. So no, I got no idea what to expect. Oh. Let's just get into the reaction, shall we? Oh, okay. Liking that. That's a bit crazy. Okay, this is high pace already. It's kind of like Chiari, but double speed. I'm liking that funkiness in the beat underneath it. This is quite an interesting build-up. I wonder where it's going though. Proper double time chorus. This has got a weirdly lo-fi feeling, but I'm loving kind of just the maniacal craziness of it. Okay. Yeah, they are definitely leading into like the kind of cute / crazy vibe. And I've got to be honest, this is a really interesting way of delivering it. Listen to all the sounds that happen. Most of the song is based around this really solid bass line and kick beat, and it's just like room for the producer to go crazy, and the singers. To like turn it up to 11 with their craziness in their performance. That little triplet brass bit there is brilliant stuff. That was not what I expected at all, and yeah, I feel like I should have expected that. That was wild. That was properly wild. Yeah, I'm really kind of like, I have to think about this one. It's like, because there is this. Well, the main reason this is not what I expected, because this song kind of very much settled in early to this idea that the beat is, that's so funny. The beat is basically just kind of a little bit more than just this kick drum, boom, 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 It's a little bit in the first verse where it goes a bit funky and a bit more syncopated, but it's basically just kind of like this pulsing beat, which is kind of giving this sense of tension. And then you've got the bass line is this kind of soft but sort of rumbling sound that was almost like a sort of throbbing bass sound in the background. So it's very sort of tense and then low. And then everything on top of that is kind of a mixture of crazy little sounds popping in and out, like little bits of piano here or a music box here, a little bit of brass just pops in for a few notes, so something crazy goes out, a little bit of high-end percussion, just things popping in and out, and it's very sort of random and sparse feeling, and just everything's kind of riding on top of the blank canvas that low end of just the kick drum and the throbbing bass are making, but it's so sort of pacey. You know, it's like so much pace in it. So boom, 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 boom. Just kind of keeping that pace up. That in a weird way, it moves so fast that you don't really have a time to think about anything. Everything's just sort of popping in and giving these sort of weird little moments of madness. And I think it's a really good way of doing it. It stays sparse, but at the same time feels very purposeful. Now, where do the vocals sit on top of that? Well, the vocals are, you know, sort of quick, sort of very fast blasts of syllables. So it's like lots of very fast moving bits. And so again, it's supposed to have this like maniac, fast moving, very tense kind of almost on edge pace, which I think is again something that seems to be, from what I've heard, what Phantom Sitter go for in their sound, and seems to be where they are on the Ado end of the scale. Because a lot of Ado's music and I think she's capable of a lot more than just this, but a lot of Ado's music came to fame because of the fact that she was so expressive in her delivery, and expressive in that way where she kind of could do that kind of on edge, like sort of slightly tense, crazed blasts of sound. And I've mentioned that a lot of the time you hear like one of the key things in her sound were these kind of like sliding notes that go up, and she'd do a lot of that and then sort of go up to a really sort of enraged sounding note. And this seems to be something that Phantom Sitter do a lot. I've got to be honest, maybe the only thing that maybe works a little bit against Phantom Sitter for me is when I hear them, they do sound like a collection of small Ados. Like, it's interesting because when you got like a singer who makes her own group, it's like, are you going to pick people who sound like you or people who sound very different as something to do, you know, like as a variation, to be, you know, to try and do something very different from what you normally do. Phantom Sitter does sound like, you know, like Ado wanted to work with people who sounded a lot like her. And I don't, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know, but it definitely does feel like when I listen to Phantom Sitter songs, if I wasn't seeing the video and knowing who it was, it would feel just like it was another song written for Ado. And that's kind of where this feels to me. It feels like a kind of high-paced, slightly crazed song that could have been written for Ado herself, but instead is being done by a group here, with the various members adding their own little bits of personality in. But basically, it feels kind of like it's like an extension of the Ado sound. Does it work? I think it works because it's kind of a bit crazy, a bit quirky. It definitely feels unique and different, and it's quite concise. You know, for a song that's about 3 minutes long, that is quite fast. You know, it doesn't spend too much time hanging around. It keeps its tension, keeps its pace. I think ultimately the chorus it's got a bit of an earworm value. I don't think it's one of those choruses that's going to necessarily stick with you, because the chorus is a little bit just too sort of like rinse and repeat. So this is not one of those songs that's going to be like a classic, memorable karaoke hit or something, but it's definitely going to be one of those ones where if you just want something a little bit maniac, a little bit crazy, a little bit high paced, and a little bit mad, yeah, this is something quite unique, and I have a lot of respect for that. I have a lot of respect for people who can do those slightly crazed sounding songs that go in a different direction, or at least, you know, express themselves in a different way. So despite the fact that not lyrically, but vocally, it definitely sounds like it's in the Ado style, musically and the way that they kind of like package this, it's got a feeling of being, definitely does sound like it's from the Ado stable, but it definitely goes in its own direction enough to have its own identity. So this was really fascinating. This is like totally maybe what I expected from Phantom Sitter, but there's a lot of things about this that caught me by surprise, which is always cool, especially for a reaction, especially for a group who you've been skirting around but haven't really paid as much attention to as perhaps they deserve. So I'm really interested to know what you guys thought of this. Get in the comments, as always. Tell me what you think. We have got a Discord, so if you want to speak to other people, other followers, and our Discord's been going for years. Great place. You can talk to people who are into all different types of music. Oh, Japanese music, of course. So feel free to go over there, have a little chat with people, and hopefully, find some new music and share the music you love as well. And until we hopefully see you very soon in Japan for the next one of these, or in the comments or in the Discord, or wherever you may be. For now, ciao, ciao.